had turned out to vote, I mean, if they had voted after accreditation, that would have given us, maybe wouldn't have changed the result because the result was 2.5 million. But you can imagine that it would have significantly increased the results of the election. So it's important to have accreditation and voting simultaneously, as this has encouraged more people to participate in the electoral process.
Apart from talking about the issue of participation of voters, what other thing in terms of the technicality of it? We do know that most of the times elections do get into the wee hour of the day at night, and anything can happen at that time. It's always a dangerous moment of the election period. Will these new guidelines also help in that area?
Oh yes, tremendously. It will help, because you know that in the past you will commence accreditation at 8 a.m. and end it around 1 p.m. Of course, you will start voting around 1:30 thereabouts, and then you would finish voting when the last person on the queue has voted. But sometimes you would have, if there was a slight delay of 1 hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours, you could have voting going on into 6 p.m., 6:30 and 7. And of course, that's just the voting process. You still have to take it to the collation center. You must go for the ward collation, the local government collation. And if it is like the presidential election, you will also go to the state and then national collation. So you can see that by finishing the activities of voting as early as 2 o'clock, that allows you to be able to do collation at least at the ward level and perhaps at the local government level in good time. So if all goes well, at least you can have election results, sometime before midnight. Okay. But in the past, when you finish at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m., then you start going to collation. It's dangerous for the polling officers who are core members, and it also means that everything about collation occurs at night, which a lot of people have not been comfortable with. So this is a welcome development, and it has positive security implications. Okay,
let's take a moment now, and when we return, Mr. Oluwole Ozazi, who's here, the Director of Publicity and Voter Education at INEC, is still with us, and Mr. Biodun Ajijola also staying with us and discussing this new twist in INEC way of conducting elections in Nigeria. Don't forget, we are tracking what is happening with the zoning arrangement in the PDP, and of course, what is happening with the revenue allocation in Nigeria. This and more. We'll give you an update when we return. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're watching Politics Today live on Channels Television. Of course, we're bringing you some of the top political stories happening in the land. As we speak, we're tracking what is happening in the PDP. And let me quickly inform you, I'm having details of what is happening at the zoning of the PDP after the National Executive Council meeting. There you go. The party has zoned the chairmanship position to the northeast. And of course, before now, that they also zoned the presidential seat also in the party in 2019 to the north. Other positions now are coming clearer now. The deputy national chairmanship position in the PDP is zoned for to the south region of the country. The national secretary is zoned to the southwest. The deputy national secretary zoned to the north central. The national legal advisor zoned to the northwest. Another very important position in the party is that of the national publicity secretary of the party, which now let me get this for you. The National Publicity Secretary is zoned to the southwestern region of the country. Well, interesting twist in the PDP. Loads of reactions. We'll trade these, of course, in the coming days, and we'll stay to give you details. Don't forget, May is when the National Convention of the PDP will happen in Port Harcourt, the capital of Rivers State. And of course, the governors in Nigeria met today with the president, and a lot of outcome coming from revenue allocation. The center can no longer hold regarding revenue allocation, and they're looking for ways to move forward. we have been talking about election and guidelines in Nigeria, the new ways to go with INEC, the nation's election umpire. Of course, you can tweet at us at CTV Politics or at my personal handle at Shewalking. In another few moments, some of your thoughts are going to be scrolling right there on your screen. Let me quickly go to our Abuja studio where Mr. Oluwole Osaziuzi will be talking to us about what INEC is doing. But a lot of fears about from Nigerians about these inconclusive elections. We've had several of them in the last few months of the life of INEC. One is wondering, are you looking into permanent solutions to inconclusive elections in Nigeria?
That the Senate discussed some of it yesterday. But the issue is that the reasons we should address is why are elections inconclusive? And very often we miss the point, and very often it's the violence that leads to inconclusiveness of elections. And so first of all, in addressing the inconclusive election, we have to look at the root cause of that violence. The political class must learn to accept democratic principles. Violence is anathemic to conduct of elections. But having said that, you have to look at the Electoral Act itself, especially sections 26 and I think 53 of the Electoral Act, which says what should happen in case for any reason you have to postpone an election or cannot conduct an election in particular localities or particular areas. And it's very clear. In section 53, where there's overvoting, you cancel the result, and if it does not affect the outcome of the election, you make a declaration. But if it does affect it, you must appoint a date. So inconclusiveness begins with that. Section 26, if you postpone an election because of natural disaster, because of violence, or the likelihood of breakdown of law of order, you have a duty to also postpone that election if, in the opinion of the commission, the outcome of the results will be affected by postponements in those areas. And you see, because of the competitive nature of elections now, because you have two strong political parties that are generally both strong almost across the country, elections have become a lot more competitive. So elections, where the cancellation in one unit or a couple of units affects the general outcome, it's no longer the case of mudslides and landslides as it used to be. So definitely there will be inconclusive elections. But yes, in our own position, we are looking at the guidelines. And in as much as we can do something about the guidelines to ensure conclusiveness, we will do that. And don't forget also that democracy, elections is all about the majority people being afforded the opportunity of casting the votes. So it's a bit unfair to say that when only half of the people have voted, we should go ahead and make a declaration. You deprive the majority of people from that opportunity, even if their votes, especially where their votes will make a difference as to who will win that particular election. All right.
Mr. Osaziuzi, a lot of people have talked about the committees that have been set up to look at our electoral laws before now. And one would be wondering, isn't this a good time for the commission to be looking inwards at amending the electoral, especially what we saw at the outcome of some of the Supreme Court judgments, which went against some of the INEC rules and INEC guidelines, which made it a very big problem. Are you looking to approaching the National Assembly to amend some very critical part of the Electoral Act, especially looking at amending the laws to favor electronic voting, which will save us a lot?
Well, certainly the Commission, first of all, must consult widely. In the light of decisions of the Supreme Court and other courts and tribunals, in the light of our experiences in the field in 2015 and the recent elections, we're doing a comprehensive study of the whole process with a view to electoral reform, such as to make the process better, to make our operations smoother, and to ensure that we serve Nigerians better. Yes, that is being considered. But don't forget, we can't do it alone. We've already started consultations with civil society. We'll also consult with other stakeholders and juxtapose that with what we have witnessed by ourselves. And also approach the National Assembly and see what can be done in that regard. And you know, the National Assembly usually will even do public hearings. We'll ask for memos from us and everything else. But it's not just INEC that should drive the process. The media has a duty. Civil society has a duty. All stakeholders have a duty. But on our own part, yes, the process has commenced, and we hope that we can conclude that in good time before subsequent 2019 elections. We certainly hope so.
Okay, just before I allow you go, Mr. Osazuzi, the issue concerning the senatorial seats in Anambra State, after the commission consulted the Supreme Court, have you made any decision? Who is going in? Is anybody coming out? Is anybody coming in? What is the decision of the commission on this?
That is still under consideration, and once a firm decision has been taken, it will be publicized to make public. Okay,
let me quickly go to Akure now, where Mr. Ajijola is standing by. You monitor elections and see what exactly happens in terms of inconclusive elections. You heard what Mr. Osazuzi told us there. Are you satisfied with the state of things and the way things are being run in this area?
Yes, I don't have too much of a problem with it at the moment, but I think things can get better. I think it's okay. It's not too bad.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to us. That's Mr. Abiodun Ajijola there, the National Coordinator of Election Monitor, talking to us from Akure, the capital of Ondo State, and Mr. Oluwole Osazuzi, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. Many thanks for coming on the program. Well, let's quickly tell you that some of the stories we are following, the PDP has decided, and their decision tonight after the NEC meeting is that the chairmanship position of the party will go to the northeastern region of the country. The presidential seat also for the party in 2019 also has gone to the north. A lot of people are speculating, will the chairman of the party contests for the chairmanship position at the National Convention, which comes up in Port Harcourt? But that's one thing that all of us should be waiting to follow and see what exactly will happen. On that note, many thanks for being such a great company. And on behalf of the team here at the Channels Television headquarters in Lagos, I'm Sheon Wakimbale. Bye for now.